You know, one of the things that I really struggle with in my life is dealing with stress, negative emotions. Even though I spend a lot of time working on my self-improvement and trying to better understand myself and the way I tick, one of the things that really gets a hold on me is when I have negative emotions, whether it's being angry or frustrated or disappointed. I've talked about these things in other videos, but today I wanted to talk specifically about what I do to deal with negative emotions when I feel like they're starting to overwhelm me. The reason that I want to talk about that is just lately, I've had a couple of things in my life that have kind of overwhelmed me and really started to wear on me emotionally. The biggest thing is that I've had a lot of setbacks in my business, which is pretty normal for anyone out there who's started a business or runs a business. There are just times when things don't go the way you want, and dealing with people, clients, and different things like that, it just wears you down. And so I've had some setbacks and some disappointments and some frustrations there. On top of that, right now, California is going through a heat wave, and it's like 95 degrees Fahrenheit, which is, I don't know, almost 40 degrees Celsius. Even though I grew up in Australia in humidity and heat, I've lived in California like 10 years, and I'm just not good at dealing with humidity and heat anymore. And so that, coupled with the frustrations in business, I'm just not sleeping well at the moment. There's a lot of things going on. Even though my life generally is great and I'm in a new phase and things are wonderful, I've just been feeling like there's a lot of frustration, there's a lot of disappointment, and the negative emotions are wearing on me. And so that's why I wanted to create this video, because I don't want to always give the appearance that everything's perfect in my life or I've got everything figured out. Just like you, I go through crappy times where things don't work and I get agitated and I get dejected and I get down on myself as a result. So I wanted to share a couple of ideas. I went through and I kind of brainstormed the ways that I overcome negative emotions and I stop myself from going down into a spiral, if you like, that stopped me from being the person I don't want to be and helped me to kind of recover and come back to where I want to be in my life. The first one that has really helped me over the years is to unwrap my emotions. Now, what I mean by this is that when you have a negative emotion, it's usually not just a singular emotion. So like I was describing just before, I will tend to get frustrated, I'll get angry, I'll get agitated, I'll get disappointed. All these things kind of wrap on top of each other. I might be disappointed about a business situation, and then I'm frustrated that I'm not where I want to be with my goals. And then on top of that, I'm just exhausted because it's hot and all these type of things. So these emotions kind of wrap on top of each other and they start to wind you up and you feel like they're overwhelming you. What I've learned is really valuable to do is to unwrap the emotions. So actually sit down and write them down on a piece of paper and say, okay, I'm feeling disappointment about this. I'm feeling frustration about this. I'm feeling exhaustion about this. Whatever it is, just unwrap the emotions so that they're separate. And what that does is it helps you to see them more in an objective way instead of just letting them overwhelm you. So that's the first tip, is to unwrap your emotions. It doesn't mean that you're going to get over them, you still feel them, but at least they're not this kind of tight ball of emotions that are all kind of overwhelming you. You can isolate them and identify them separately. It sort of empowers you in a way, and it helps you to start to move beyond them. Second idea that I have is to seek small state changes. Now, I'm not a big fan of Tony Robbins, but one of the things I did learn from him many years ago was this idea of state changes, or, choosing your state management. It is a good concept, and it's something that can really help you to reset very quickly. What I've noticed is that very often the environment or the circumstance that you're in or something about yourself will tend to be wearing on you, will tend to create negative emotions. So there's different ways that you can kind of manage your state if you're aware of it, and you can start to reset, if you like. You can start to improve from the inside out, and that will start to actually change the way you feel and help you to move beyond the negative emotions that you're feeling. So some simple ways to do this, for example, is the physical environment you're in. If you're in a situation like I am right now where it's really hot all the time, try to find a place where it's cool. What I've been doing over the last couple of days is spending a bit more time than normal in the gym because it's got amazing air conditioning, and just sitting around, taking a bit more time, getting into a cool environment, maybe going swimming or going to the beach or whatever it is, getting in the shade, something simple like that. If you're really cold, maybe get into a warm environment. If it's really loud where you are, go to somewhere quiet. Have an environmental change. That will really help to change your state in the moment. Second thing is the content that you consume. Sometimes we don't realize how much what we're consuming on a daily basis is kind of wearing on our emotions, whether it's taking taking in too much news or social media or negativity or whatever it is, if you just reset the content that you're putting into your brain, it can help to change your state. One of the things that really does this for me is music. If I just listen to a different type of music that I normally would, whether it's electronic or it's classical or maybe it's rock or something, it will just change my state a little bit, and it gives me a little bit of a new lease on life just in that moment. It helps me to reset the way I'm feeling just by emotionally lifting me a little bit. And the third thing is just physical change, whether it's going for a walk, going to the gym, going for a swim, doing something physical that actually changes how you feel. That is one of the best ways that I know to change your state. It might sound simple, but just getting out of the house for half an hour and walking around the neighborhood, taking some deep breaths, it's one of the best remedies that I know for getting rid of negative emotions. I promise you, by the time you come back 30 minutes later, you will feel a little bit different and a bit more in control of your emotions than you did beforehand. So these are 3 simple ideas that I've used that have helped me to manage my state. And the more that you take control of your state in the moment, the less you'll find that your emotions overwhelm you, and the easier it is for you to kind of get back control and get back to that set point where you would like to be emotionally. And the third idea I have to reset your emotions and to move past negative emotions is to go back to your goals. This is something that I learned years and years ago from Brian Tracy in his program Goals. I recommend checking it out. It's pretty archaic now, but it's actually a really good book. He always says whenever you're feeling pessimistic or you're feeling like a failure or you're feeling nervous, just look back at your goals and your plans that you have. Another great example of this I learned from Earl Nightingale years ago. He said that human beings are like ships on the ocean. People who know where they're going are like ship captains who have a direction, who have a plan. And when the waves get rough and the sea gets kind of violent and scary, they still keep focused on their destination and they can cut through the waves and they can keep going. Whereas people who don't have goals and plans, they get very swayed by the tide and by the ocean and all the different things around them. You can probably relate to that in your life. If you have a plan and a direction of what you're trying to do, it makes it much easier to deal with the ebbs and flows of life, the frustrating situations and the negative emotions. The waves will still be there. Sometimes they'll be pushing against you. Sometimes they'll be kind of getting you down, but if you have your direction and your plan, it's easier to get back on track to it over the long term. And it can really help you in the moment just to refresh, just to reread over your goals and plans, your hopes and dreams, the things that you want to do in your life, and realize that you are on track to those over the long term. It really helps me just to change the way I'm feeling in the moment, to look at the macro and to realize that there is a direction and a plan here. And even though I might be having some setbacks or frustrations or disappointments, it's okay, because over the long term, those waves will start to calm down and I'm still heading towards the direction that I want to be. My friend, there will always be times in your life where things kind of suck. I go through it all the time. I'm going through it right now in my life. That's why I'm making this video today, to be honest and to say, hey, not all of life is perfect. There are times when things don't work. And so what I would leave you with is this phrase, which I believe is from the Bible originally, but I've heard it said by many different people, and that is, this too shall pass. Whatever it is you're experiencing right now, the frustration that you're going through, the disappointment, the anger, the upset, the turmoil, whatever it is, I promise you, this too shall pass. You just have to keep aware of your emotions. You have to accept the situation you're in and keep focused on where you're going while managing your state and going easy on yourself at the same time. Life isn't all perfect. It goes up and down, backwards and forwards. Sometimes you feel like you're not making progress. Other times you're amazed by how far you're getting ahead. Wherever you are right now, I promise you, I'm on the same journey as you, and we are all in this together. Hopefully this video has been valuable for you. If you like what I'm doing here in this channel, please leave a like on the video and consider subscribing. We'd love to have you as part of our community. My name's Daniel Midson-Short. Thank you for watching, and as always, thank you for improving yourself. All right, time to get into the air conditioning. Oh, man.